Hello, Raptors Nation. Luca Rosano here, back with another video. And for today's video, I wanted to react to a Bleacher Report article. Zack Buckley from Bleacher Report recently ranked the NBA's most confusing rosters, and the Raptors so happen to be on this list. So we're going to dive right into it. We're going to take a look at what Zack said about the Raptors' current roster situation. Before we do just that, guys, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content just like this. We're trying to hit 1K subs on this channel, so that would be greatly appreciated if you can help me get to that. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at who Zack has as his most confusing rosters in the NBA. So at number 5 here, okay, before that, he's got a notable exclusion, the Portland Trailblazers. We're not going to read what he wrote about the other teams. We're just going to get to the Raptors bit. Don't mind all these ads here. There's a lot of ads with these articles, as you guys may know. Okay, Dallas, he has a number 5. I could see that. Houston, number 4. And then he's got the Raptors at number 3. Now, before we get into the Raptors bit, if you are curious, I'm going to put the link in the description down below if you want to read what he wrote about the other teams. He's got Minnesota at number 2, and then number 1, he's got the Bulls. So he's got Minnesota and Chicago having more confusing rosters than the Raptors. But let's take a look to see what Zack wrote about the Raptors. So this is what he said, and I quote, "It would be fascinating to get a look at whatever GPS Raptors president Masai Ujiri is consulting. Outside looking in, it sure appears Toronto is trekking down the proverbial road to nowhere. There has been a mass exodus of established, talented players ever since the Raptors captured the world title in 2019, starting with Kawhi Leonard that same summer and lasting through Fred VanVleet's departure this offseason. You'd be forgiven for thinking a youth movement is overdue. You might also conclude that new coach Darko Rajakovic, who has spent much of his career in player development, would be a great choice to oversee a youth-heavy roster." You got that right, Zack. Yet Toronto hasn't even shown so much as a passing interest in resetting this roster around its youth. If anything, the Raptors have done the opposite. Sure, they let VanVleet walk, but they were in the running before he became perhaps this offseason's biggest overpay. They also re-signed Jakob Poeltl, whom they sacrificed a lightly protected first-round pick to add at the trade deadline. It's top 6 protected. They have also effectively rebuffed any inquiries about their own players, with league sources describing Toronto's asking prices as astronomical and far-fetched per the Action Network's Matt Moore. That already resulted in the Raptors losing VanVleet for nothing, and history could repeat itself with free agency awaiting Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby next summer. Barring trades, Toronto has too much talent to bottom out, but not enough of it to compete for anything of substance. The Raptors were an abysmal shooting team last season, and that was before they replaced VanVleet with Dennis Schroeder, a career 33.7% three-point shooter. Expecting much more or much less than a 500 record feels unreasonable. So a lot of good points were made. I agree with everything he says, and I've been saying this for a while, even on my own personal channel, that I just don't understand what the Raptors are doing. They are very confusing. It seems like management refuses to finally pick and commit to a direction, and they're treading water at this point. This is a team that's not going to compete for anything of substance, and that's the line that really stood out to me when he says, yeah, Toronto has too much talent to bottom out, but not enough of it to compete for anything of substance. Like, that's bang on. They are dead stuck in the middle. The Raptors are too good to be one of the worst teams in the league, but they're also not good enough to make things interesting. I gave this team a second-round ceiling, and that could be considered generous. This is a team that a lot of people are expecting to once again be battling for a play-in spot. I know some people have the Raptors missing the playoffs. I'm going to go and get into my rankings and where I see the Raptors finishing and all of that later on. I think it's still relatively early to do that, but the East has gotten a lot better. I did a show with Sean yesterday on this channel, just talking about the Eastern Conference teams that are going to be there again, the ones that are going to be improved, the bad ones that are probably going to take a leap. Teams like Indiana, the Magic, teams that weren't there last season are now going to be a problem. the East is going to be a battle. And the Raptors, instead of getting much better or much worse, they kind of just stayed where they were at a season ago. And I mean, you could argue they got worse because they did lose Van Vliet for nothing. But the point is, the East has gotten very, very tough. And the Raptors right now are in a very, very weird, confusing situation. And, you look at this roster, it's still a vision of a 6'9" product. And the offense is going to struggle without Van Vliet. You lose a guy like Van Vliet, and then outside of Grady Dick, the Raptors didn't really do anything else to address the shooting. I know you're banking on Otto Porter Jr. being back and helping you in that regard, but there's just a lot of question marks. You got a rookie head coach. There's obviously going to be growing pains with that. The one thing I am high on with this team is I think they're going to be solid defensively. I do. And I'm really looking forward to Scotty Barnes' year 3 development. I think he's going to flourish. We're going to see a lot of point Scotty. That's going to be exciting. But outside of that, yeah, this is going to make for a very, very interesting season. There's going to be a lot of question marks. And I'm hoping for the best. But at the same time, I'm being realistic with the current situation. So all in all, I agree that the Raptors do have one of the most confusing rosters in the NBA. I think ranking them 3rd is pretty fair. And yeah, we will see if the Raptors do end up addressing one side or the other, if this team just runs things as is for this upcoming season. But Raptors Nation, what do you think? Do you agree with this article? I'm going to leave a link to this article down below. But what do you think about what Zack wrote here? Do you think the Raptors are a confusing roster, or do you think this team is going to exceed expectations? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more. This is Luca from Raptors Nation. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, stay safe.